Hey guys, Ashley here with a new episode of Interviewing With for Are You Sure You Want to Do That? Today we have an amazing guest. You know and love him from TikTok and his amazing D&D videos. Um, Oliver, thank you so much for being here.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Ashley.
Thanks for accepting the invite. I'm a fan.
Thank you very much. Yeah, lots of time to pump out new content while the state's locked down. So always happy to, do a little interview, times like that.
Fair enough. So first thing, how did the Aussie Warlock like happen on TikTok? What made you like want to start doing that?
So to start with, I didn't plan on doing D&D content. It all started Christmas of 2018. I just made I used to make memes on Snapchat, just random skits that were like just, classic Australian humor sort of stuff.
Mhm.
And it seemed to like really hit its mark with a few of my mates. And they kept saying, "Oh, you should just post stuff on YouTube or Vine or whatever." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure Vine's dead, but I'll have a look around." And eventually I just started posting like retail nightmare stories on TikTok, and it's like the very last things you'll ever see on my page. And as I started to get more and more into D&D, I just started posting that kind of content, and it just took off really surprisingly. So I just thought, all right, I think I found my people. And yeah, so that's what I've been doing. And every now and then I'll branch out, maybe throw a little bit of Skyrim out there or something else that I'm into at the moment. But yeah, love D&D, and the community's fantastic. So, wouldn't
Absolutely.
trade it for anything.
What got you into D&D?
Um, I think my first brush with D&D was in high school. It didn't really take because it was like right around exams, and we're like, oh, let's try and do something to like, relax while exams are freaking us out. Didn't quite work because we was too busy studying at the time. So we had like one or two sessions, and it didn't really stick. But I think in the third year of university was when I started getting back into Dungeons and Dragons. And, I signed up with a group, and we started playing originally at the game shop, local game shop. But then after a while, it started to get to the point where we were like, we were all coming together so well that we started going to people's houses as they would host. And it was just like the best. It was like this year and a half long campaign that like I still remember very fondly. And of course, my first character was like the edgiest possible human fighter that I could ever make, who then multi-classed into Warlock, and that's kind of where I got the name from.
Ah,
My
so
characters have been getting less edgy over time, slowly.
you know what, that kind of happens. You have to get through that edgelord phase, and then you're just like, I'm just like a normal dude that like sells tomatoes on the side of the road.
Yeah, there was a progression, like my because the first character was like, oh, he's possessed by a demon and has to hunt other demons. And looking back on it now, I'm just like, holy shit, what was I thinking? Um, and like my most recent character is he's like it's so edgy as well because he's like a half drow who used to be a slave to a dragon, and he's got like astral projection abilities, and I'm just got a bad pattern, but I'm breaking that. My next character is not going to be edgy. It's going to be great. I'm very looking forward to it.
Have you stepped into the DM seat yet?
I have stepped in briefly because a few of my friends who I originally didn't think would be interested in it at all actually approached me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in, I bought the Dungeons and Dragons Starter Edition. Would you be interested in DMing?" And I thought, "Oh, geez, I've never DM'd before, but I'll give it a crack." And I went over to their house one day, and there was like five of us, and I was like, "Oh man, these are like the jocks of my friendship group. I did not expect this." Um, but yeah, we got into it, and I thought I sort of just like bounced along pretty averagely. But afterwards, I was told like, yeah, like we really love the starter stuff with you. You're a really good DM. Can we do it again? I was like, oh man, I don't know. I'll think about it. And now we're in lockdown, and I can't. Maybe online, but we'll see. But it's
Well,
it's fun. I have a lot of respect for DMs and the insane amount of work they put into. And in my Thursday sessions, I'm always making sure that I message my DM afterwards and just say, hey, I just want to say I loved this about it. I really loved the campaign so far. I really appreciate all the effort you're putting into it. Just find something from that session that I really enjoyed and let them know, because like it's so good to hear, and like they deserve it, because DMs are just, they're everything else. There's the players, and then there's everything else, and that's the DM.
hmm, the kids, the mistresses, the wives, the horses.
everything.
Everything. Um, what is your as you did DM though? What was your favorite part about it?
Um, I honestly really enjoyed just like the interest that the players took because I was a bit apprehensive because some people aren't as open to D&D as others. And I went into this thinking, oh man, I hope they like it because, but I was asked, so hopefully they were into it. And like as enthusiastic as people got, like everyone's first like natural 20 or natural one, and I was like, oh, what are we doing here? Um, but it was really good fun. And in the first session, I thought, you know what, I'm going to let the dice decide this. And uh, the most memorable moment was they were fighting a hobgoblin from the starter edition in like some cave, and it was just before he had been defeated. He got a crit on our party's. I think he was a cleric. He straight up
Mm.
died instantly. It was bad. It was bad.
Ooh.
But I thought, oh, do I let him live? Nah, this is too funny not to. I'm sorry. You're all over the cave. You've been painted. I'm sorry. But he enjoyed it. It was fun. Everyone got a good laugh out of it, and they wanted to go again. So I must have done something right.
I agree. What would you say is the biggest struggle as a DM?
Um, I think I think that would probably vary from DM to DM, but as a general guess, I'd probably say finding like not the voice, but the style of DMing that you want to do. Like some DMs, of course, hesitate to always reference Matthew Mercer, but Matthew Mercer gets fully into it. He's got the voices and the role play, and he sets the scene so well,
Mm.
and that's amazing. Like I love that style, and when I DM'd, I try to get into that, but it's hard, But like the passion that DMs put into that stuff is always really admirable, and I think that the hardest part for DMs would be finding if they want to be more of like a descriptive, flowing RP sort of DM, or if they want to be more like, here's the details, or we stick to the modules and I tell you only what the module tells me, which is fine as well, because sometimes that's what you're after. You just want to like, I'll just do a module and play through that. Um, but yeah, I think finding the style of DMing that best suits the, that particular DM is probably the hardest part. But once they do and they find what their flow is actually like, I think it just becomes a whole lot easier.
I agree with
Um,
that.
yeah. I think the easiest part of the DM is thinking of stuff and then just like writing it all down. But then the hard part again comes from organizing everything for the players because,
Mm.
you'd have so many ideas. And I remember that I've got this homebrew world that I have never introduced to players, but like I've got like maps and stuff and a couple of little notes. And I've just thought, man, even if I had a group that would play in this session, like maybe 5% of the stuff would get covered. But, that's just how it is.
That's just the life of a DM.
I
um,
understand the struggle.
so this is a question for both as a player and as a
Hmm.
DM. Do you have any pet peeves?
Yes. My biggest pet peeve is usually power gamers who
Mm.
do so to the detriment of everyone else. Um, I, um, my preferred playstyle is I love to get into the RP and stuff, and I love fun characters, but I'm very aware that a fun character can be completely ruined if they're just a badly statted character. Like, yeah, they can be fun, but if they are useless and die really easily, they're not fun for long.
Mm.
So I get like wanting to build, I always want to build a strong character and then I build the backstory behind it, or, I do one or the other. But there are some characters or people I've played with who make characters that don't really have as much of a backstory as you like. They're just sort of murder hobos who are playing just to crank their power level up as high as they can, which sometimes is cool to watch. Like, oh my god, this chain lightning attack just devastated everything. But then
Mm-hmm.
it's like you gotta give players a chance to individually shine, and that's not just the DM's responsibility. That's the players as well. And that's why in one game I played with a few friends, which was fantastic because my mate was a first time DM as well. I rolled ridiculously good stats in front of him. And so I thought, you know what, we've got new players in this game, and I just kind of want to let them. experience it. So I just played a bard that was all about support. So I had like what's it called? Bane and
Hmm.
Bless, just to give them buffs and heal them from the back line and let them just do all the hard yards and really get into the nitty gritty. And they love that. And I was like, yes, I've done my job. But yeah, so you know, that's it. Not a fan of power gamers for the sake of power gaming.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes it does get a, mm, okay. As a player, what is the five most useful things an adventurer should have in their pack or bag of holding?
Oh, rope, lots of rope. I cannot tell you how in our current campaign, towards the start of it, we went through so much rope. It was ridiculous. Um, potions, potions, and more potions. You can never spend too much gold on health potions because, oh my God, especially over like the course of long, drawn out encounters and multiple encounters where you don't have the opportunity to rest up. And if no one's playing a warlock that can heal, um, you kind of need, ways of staying alive. And DMs can usually be merciful, usually. Um, yeah,
I spoil my my group.
fair enough. I mean, it's always interesting depending on which DM and what game you're playing. A bag of holding on its own, with the new class that came out with Eberron, the artificer, artificer,
I
the
call it
new one.
artificer, but yeah.
The casters who can wear heavy armor and shields and start with 19 AC, them. Um, at like level 2, you can have, depending on how you build your artificer, you can have a bag of holding off the bat because you can make magic items, and that is always very useful. Um, so definitely a bag of holding. What else? Light sources for non-dark vision party members are always very useful because, you know, one time I was playing a human, uh, and I was the only human, and everyone else could see in the dark, and I was just like, I'm blind, and I made a TikTok based off of that experience, which went quite well. I was like, I'm glad people understand the struggle of being a human.
Oh my goodness. I never played human again after that one campaign.
Yeah, it's like you don't realize it because there are so many races that have dark vision, and then it's just like, oh yeah, humans don't have that. We can't see in the dark. This is actually a problem.
This is terrible, guys.
Yeah, I like this. Um, oh well. I mean, humans are a very good race, especially the different variants. And with Eberron, there are like those marks, like the mark of making, which is just ridiculous
Hmm.
because you just get a whole bunch of new spells which go great with Artificer. Oh, I'm looking forward to playing that.
Is that the non-edgy character?
Yes, it's one of the non-edgy characters. He's just a smart boy. It's going to be very hard to roleplay a smart boy, but I'll try my best.
Speaking of characters, how do you yourself get into character when you're joining a session or new campaign?
So, depending on what character, I might already have a very strong idea of how they think and how they act because normally that'll come in when I'm making their backstory, or if I just have a flash of, oh yeah, this character would be this kind of that kind of attitude. Um, when it comes to actually getting into character in a session, I just sort of, I don't know, maybe I'll, because we're not normally on camera, so I might just like close my eyes and just imagine myself like in that scene, how I'd be thinking and acting, and I'll, even with no cameras, I'll be gesticulating and just being like, what's going on here? Like I don't see anything, which is so often because, having plus 13 to perception's great, but if you roll a one, it's still a one.
It's still a one.
Yeah. I was always predisposed to building characters that had very strong bonuses to all their stats because my rolls are so, so terrible all the time. But that's just how the dice roll.
That's just exactly. I cannot tell you how many times I'll roll a bad like a one or a two or something. I'm like, new dice, going to dice jail.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had some dice that have definitely been in the timeout zone for a couple of weeks.
um, Oliver, can you give us your advice for new DMs, aspiring DMs, because it is intimidating. You're still pretty new to it, and you know that first time of picking up the DMG and, and reading through it is like, this is a lot of math.
Yeah, as someone who has never ever been good at math, it's always good to because the players will all collaboratively um, normally help. I've had a few instances where I've rolled a whole bunch of dice and I'm just staring at them like, okay, 5, 7, and my mate's just like, it's 20, and I'm just like, okay. But no, advice for new DMs: it's like getting into a pool and you know it's cold. Just jump in because once you're into the thick of it, it's a lot easier to just get through it. And don't forget that you may be the DM, but your players are right there with you, and it's totally cool to talk with them about it. Like, I've had these ideas for the world, or hey, I'd love to get your thoughts on some of these things because it's a collaborative storytelling experience, and
Absolutely.
you don't have to shoulder the burden alone because you know. At the end of the day, it's your world and the players are playing in it, and you're, in a sense, playing in it too. So just get people involved and don't always have to keep everything too close to your chest because it is the players who are playing in that world. So, you know,
I think that's really good advice. Thank you for that. I hope that helps you guys out at home. Oliver, here at Interviewing with, we like to play some games. Are you up for them?
all right, hit me.
Okay. First is you are the DM and you have to build your perfect party of four. Your options are absolutely everything. It could
Ooh.
be superheroes, or it can be people who've passed, or literally anything you want.
It's just 4 paladins.
But who are playing these paladins?
Oh, um, like what? From like any, I can pull from anywhere, like popular
Anywhere.
culture. Ooh,
Anywhere.
I mean, you'd have to have a Batman in the group. He's just always prepared. He's like the perfect player, with enough prep time. He's the guy who's got like a bag of holding that carries bags of holding full of other stuff. Hopefully that works all right without exploding. Um, yeah, I mean, I'd love Batman in my group, maybe playing, some sort of rogue. I feel like Batman's kind of like a swashbuckler rogue because he's always like in the
Hmm.
thick of it. Um, maybe Superman playing a paladin. I know I'm the Aussie Warlock, but God, I just love paladins. They can do everything.
They really can.
They are so versatile and they're simple, which is great. And Divine Smite is the best feature to ever exist. Don't at me. Um, yeah, no, probably Superman and Batman. Oh, what else? I mean, yeah, I'd probably just pull from like the Marvel, the DC universes.
Sure.
Maybe like maybe Darth Vader, get really spicy, get some Star Wars in there. Darth Vader, like especially in the comics. I've been watching a lot of the Star Wars comic YouTubers and just seeing how like they've expanded on Darth Vader. It's amazing. Darth Vader would be like the perfect frontliner. Maybe he's like an Oathbreaker paladin. Oh, that'd be amazing. You know. And
Okay.
then for number 4, yeah, I'd probably go Emperor Palpatine, the absolute ultimate lightning sorcerer. Absolutely filthy.
I love it. It sounds like a party of absolute chaos.
Yeah, for
And
every party ever.
mm, gotta love that chaos energy that the group brings. I need you to pick one monster from any of the Wizards of the Coast books that you would be.
That I would be,
That
oh
you
my
would be.
God.
You could but you only get to pick one.
I'd probably be a changeling. That is awesome. They're so cool. I love the idea of like being able to just change your appearance because like imagine being as a DM, for example, you just change into whatever you're describing, whatever character you're describing. Um, but I mean, changeling is pretty cool. I think Warforged are awesome. Those robot guys are
Mm-hmm.
amazing with Eberron. I love them. Love them. They're cool. Um, or maybe an elf. Like it'd be a changeling, an elf, or maybe a warforged. They're all just really cool, and I love the idea of just like way longer lifespan.
Mm,
More time to play games and play games with Dungeons and Dragons.
I agree with
But yeah,
that. Okay, okay, so a changeling, warforged, or an elf. Okay,
yeah.
I can get behind that. I'm gonna put you on the spot, and I'm gonna need you to stat yourself and give yourself a class. So in real life stats
Oh shit.
and
Okay.
and a class.
Um, my con is gonna be straight up average. Um, first off, Dex probably probably negative Dex. I'm not very flexible. Um, Charisma, I would stat based off what other people have told me. Probably like a +2, maybe like a 14 or a 16.
Okay,
I do love throwing out positive energy to people. It's always good. Give them that bardic inspiration.
okay, okay.
I would probably say Bard, because the amount of times that I have made a joke immediately in reaction to what someone has said, and they just, ugh, it feels like I have vicious mockery at all times. It's great. So I'd have to say I'd be a Bard. Strength, probably like a 14. I've been like a lot of home workouts, and before we had lockdown, I had a personal trainer. So really trying to just improve on personal fitness as a personal goal. What other stats are there? Intelligence, 6.
You gotta dump int, right?
Yeah,
Whoever needs
dump int
int.
is the biggest dump stat in real life and in D&D. Yeah, 100% it's a 6. I can't do maths to save my life. I was never particularly smart. I was always about like people and like understanding emotion and like comedy and mindsets. That was always my forte. And wisdom, questionable 10. That's my stats.
I love them all.
A 10 with a question mark.
That is the most honest. That's amazing. I love it. Yeah, you hear that, guys? You don't need int. Who needs int? Are you ready for a little bit of this or that?
All right, hit me up.
Sorcerer Warlock,
Sorcerer, honestly.
Firebolt, or Prestidigitation?
Prestidigitation. So versatile.
Drow or Sea Elf?
Drow. Drow. They come from the land down Underdark. They all have Australian accents. It's canon.
It is canon. I just can't do an Australian accent, so I'm not going to try. Aboleth or Beholder?
Ooh, Beholder. It's just pure chaos every time.
Paladin or Cleric?
Paladin. Paladin.
Waterdeep or Neverwinter?
I haven't experienced enough of Neverwinter to actually say that with any confidence, so it'd have to be Waterdeep.
Okay. Homebrew or store bought?
Homebrew, but there's nothing wrong with store bought.
Okay. Last one. Dungeon or dragon?
Dungeon. Who's to say
Okay.
there isn't a dragon in the dungeon anyway?
Yeah, that's true. I've been in dungeons where there was dragons.
It's
So,
in the name.
yeah, that's I can go with that. What color is your dragon that's in the dungeon though?
Probably a classic chromatic. I'd say red or blue.
Okay. Okay, I can get behind that. Um, Oliver, before we get to our last question, I would love for you to plug any of your stuff here where our adventurers could come find you.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I am on TikTok at Aussiewarlock. I'm on Instagram at Aussiewarlock, and I've been trying to bump up my Twitch at twitch.tv/ the Aussie Warlock. That's right, with a the at the front because Aussie Warlock was taken. Don't at me. Sorry. But yeah, um, I do have a YouTube channel, but it's got nothing on it yet. It's a work in progress. I'll get around to it probably. But yeah, that's it for now. That's all my socials.
And we will put all of his stuff down here in the description box below for you guys, so you can go follow his hilarious, amazing videos if you have not already seen them. And if you haven't, you've been under a rock or in a dungeon. Get out of it. Um, the last question, Oliver, we have is here at Interviewing With, we like to send our adventurers off on a little adventuring hook that you will be giving them. Can you give our viewers, your fans, uh, a little story of how you're gonna send them to their glory or to their doom?
Sure. Okay. Story hook. So, your party's been traveling through the desert for a few weeks now, and as you stumble across a set of ancient ruins, you see that they're actually guarded by what looks like a very heavily damaged warforged. His parts are all sticking out, and he can barely move. And as he approaches, all you can make out is ritual, demon, ritual, must stop. And then he shuts down, and the entrance to the ruins lies behind him.
Ooh, what would you do
And
for
then
him?
rocks fall and everyone dies. That's it. Everyone's
No!
dead.
Oliver, thank you so much for being here and being a part of this interview here. We appreciate you very much. And again, just thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no, no worries. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. And you, adventurers, we will see you guys next week. Um, Thank you guys for watching and hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.
Yeah.